Coming back. Why, hello, and welcome to issue 670 of Geek in the City Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Duran.
I am one of your other hosts, Beanarita.
And I'm T-Bird.
What is going on right now?
I'm Cable Hashitani, and Aaron and I were trading lines from the 90s classic gothic horror movie, comic book inspired, and definitely you play it at every Halloween, The Crow with the late Brandon Lee.
Yes.
I've never played that.
Oh, I learned some deep
There's a game?
What?
The game, The Crow? Is that
Mm.
what you said?
I thought that's what you said. A game that gets played every Halloween.
Okay,
No. Movie that gets played every.
Okay.
Maybe I did say game and I meant movie. I work in a game store. I'm around games all goddamn day.
Fair enough.
It's entirely possible.
Yes, fair enough.
Game.
So Merrick threw me down this rabbit hole Sunday morning that part of it was, do you remember Chad in the fourth Matrix?
Chad?
Chad. He was the programmed husband with the programmed kids that was married to Trinity.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Tiffany?
I didn't remember his name was Chad, but
His name was Chad. The actor's name is Chad.
Classic Chad.
So here's the thing. Chad was a stunt double. He was Brandon Lee's stunt double on The Crow.
Oh.
So
He was the stunt double that filled in for all of the... Once Brandon had been killed on set and they still needed to finish scenes, Chad had the physical body type that was closest to Brandon, so he filled in all of the scenes where you don't see Brandon's face. That's apparently Chad.
Okay.
Good for him.
Chad has had like, he's just kind of a guy. He's a working guy.
It's just this guy, you know.
He works, and he has worked stunts his whole life. But he goes from there to work with Keanu Reeves on The Matrix. Cut to now, like, him being on screen in The Matrix 4 is just one of his more recent on-screen credits. He put together Keanu Reeves paid out of his own pocket a bunch of the stunt people from original Matrix, because he's like, I know my name is on the marquee. You did all the work. Here, have some more money.
He did it on all the Matrix movies, too.
He did. And Chad took that money and started stunt production companies and film production companies. Like, he's a major, like, he went from, I'm a stunt guy, to major stunt coordinator on most of the things that we've watched, including all of the John Wick movies.
Oh, wow. Good
Yeah.
for Chad.
Like this, like, if you go look at his IMDb, he's done shit.
Yeah.
I think what you're telling us is that Keanu Reeves is the rising tide.
He is the rising tide.
That is very much so, yeah.
Like, when she was telling me this stuff, like, she mentioned, it's like, oh yeah, apparently he trained with Brandon Lee at the Inosanto dojo. I'm like, oh, okay, that told me everything I need to know right there, because Diana Lee Inosanto, who was the magistrate in the Mandalorian episode with Ahsoka Tano, she was the one with the spear.
And she studied under Bruce Lee a little bit, right?
She's
Or her
Bruce
dad.
Lee's goddaughter.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
wow.
Inosantos and the Lees were friends. Like,
yeah.
So when Chad says he knows martial arts, Chad knows martial arts.
Yeah. Probably within a good foundation in Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
Because that was Bruce's. Yeah.
That was his stick.
Yeah.
So, but
And
yeah, weird little link to, like, I forget why this came up. She brought up something completely different and then went down this rabbit hole that went through The Crow and all the Matrix movies, Santos and the Lee connection. It was great.
And it wasn't because you were watching The Crow?
We were not watching The Crow.
I don't know if it's true. There was a rumor that some of the close-up mirror shots of Brandon Lee in The Crow when he's putting on the makeup and he shatters it because those scenes were going to be filmed towards the end and Brandon Lee had already been killed by then.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading somewhere that those facial images are a mashup of Brandon Lee and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Like they used some of him for that.
I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt was too young.
He was
for that.
too young.
He was
at
very
the time.
young, but you see them side by side and that you could kind of see it. But
The Crow came out in 1992.
yes, I think that sounds right. Yeah, sure.
I think so.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is older than I am, apparently. He was born in 81. So what did we say, 93? Still too young. That means he would have been like 12, 13.
So The Crow came out in 94. I remember because
14.
our high school would always do the sober grad, and they always said like, we'll get you one special movie that like doesn't screen anywhere. Like usually the theaters would try to get it early and whatnot. And they did. We really thought it was going to be The Crow, and it wound up being City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold. So much to my disappointment. So I know this is going out, but it's, I don't know. Anyway. Oh, I know why. Sorry, behind the scenes. I know why this pre-ep is not showing anything on track 4. Track 4 is for dedicated call-in. So I'm not getting levels on track 4 because there is no one. So
Right.
never mind.
We have no guest today. It's just us.
Yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today.
We did have a good solid month of guests.
Mm-hmm.
So,
October was good.
and solid guests at that.
Yeah, and now that Rucka's back, I got to see about getting him into the studio
We
again.
haven't had him around in a
It's
while.
been a long time, and he has tales of Italy,
Ooh.
probably.
Maybe.
No.
He has tales. How many of them?
How many he can
actually
tell.
on air?
Yes.
Right.
Hey, here's not being able to lift my right hand right now to drink up seltzer water.
Ooh. That's. I don't think we're set up for that yet, Norm.
What?
Norm is asking if like potentially listeners could call into the show. I don't think we're set up for that.
We're not there yet, but I don't know. It might be fun, but we're not there yet.
This new streaming one this new streaming setup is pretty nice though.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah,
other stuff we haven't really played around with.
Could RevNat recap Rings of Power? I'm sure we will, because that wrapped up in October also, the first season.
Did it? Okay.
I think so. Yeah,
I didn't watch it. And I'm probably not going.
Totally fell off. I'm sure I'll finish it at some point.
it's fine.
I still have to finish Sandman. October was fucking busy, y'all.
Yeah, it was. It was incredibly busy. Not
Sandman was over the summer.
Yep.
Sharajuwa.
Also, during that time period, 2 people in our 2-person household had COVID.
Oh, did
At
she
separate
get it
times.
too? Oh, I didn't know that.
That was Portland Horror Film Fest.
Oh, yes. You were extra stressed out during
Yes,
that.
you did know that. You
Yeah.
both knew that.
Mhm, mhm.
By the way, I'm pretty certain this person wants a Polaroid for Christmas.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
She was always lamenting that her film doesn't work. I was like, the film does this and this, the camera. She's like, it's not the kind of film I have. It's like, oh, well.
All right. Good point.
I had a lot of fun with my Polaroid last night, which now sounds creepy when I say it out loud. And it's going to get creepier.
What do you mean when you say you had fun with your Polaroid last night?
So,
Last night being
Halloween. So every trick-or-treater who came over, they were in costumes of various kinds, with their permission, as well as whatever attending adult was there.
Mhm.
I asked if I could take their Polaroid, and then I would give them the picture.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so I went through 2.5 packs. So that means we had roughly 25 people or groups of trick-or-treaters come up. Parents really got into it, like, oh my God. Yeah, it was cool. It's kind of one of those things like, I think I want to do this every year, as long as I can keep affording Polaroid film. But it was neat. It was really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun on Saturday.
Yeah, I always forget that I have it, and then I never know, like, people are going to be like, oh, fuck, here comes Aaron with this goddamn Polaroid again.
I was annoyed because I had specifically put the film that you gave me on the table. I was like, I'm putting this here so I don't forget. I'm gonna bust out the camera because I have a new vintage Polaroid for Saturday. And then when things got cleaned up, that got put somewhere else, and I forgot about it until kind of late in the evening. So not
Yeah.
as many pictures were taken as I would have liked.
Yeah, I left some at your place, I think.
Yeah,
The
there's
green
like 4
ones.
of yours, the green ones.
Yeah. Your camera's janky too. I think it needs a good working over.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway.
I did figure out the flash though.
Ah. Dun, 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 dun. He's a billy goat. Oh, sorry.
He's a billy goat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Homicide of Carrico is talking about the crossword murders.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How is that a thing?
I don't know. It's like you know, fucking Angela Lansbury showed up. You knew someone was gonna die. You're like, oh shit, here she is. Someone's kicking it. So what is?
So we know what you did on Halloween. What did you do on Halloween?
Yeah.
Specifically Monday night?
Yes.
Oh jack shit. I'm sorry. That is like unfestive of me, but I am exhausted. I spent so many work's been crazy, and then I spent like 10 evenings working on part of my costume. And then like any time I host at my house, I spent all of Saturday cleaning and shopping and choring, to get ready for the guests, such that once the festivities began, I was too tired to stand. So,
I see.
and then of course we stay up late because it's a party.
Yeah.
So I slept like 11, 12 hours Sunday night. And then I went home after work on Monday and I just melted into my couch.
Yeah.
And handed out candy once, I think.
I thought you'd get more in your neighborhood.
So here's the thing is
You're like a Wright Piper neighborhood.
This was my 5th Halloween in that house. And the first 2 Halloweens were we always go to a party. We always go to a Halloween party.
Right.
And then pandemic. So
Good thing that's over.
right. Even still, I think we weren't home Halloween evening, but I made an entire graveyard of paper bags in my yard, paper bags full of candy and little toys, decorated like little headstones. I probably put out like 25 goodie bags, and I was worried that they wouldn't be enough. Less than half of them were taken.
Huh.
Yeah. And so this year, I think Christian said there was one set of kids that knocked. There was like 5 of them. And I know I gave out candy to one set of 3 kids.
Cheesy Pete.
And that was it for the rest of the night. I don't know if it's my neighborhood or.
And I thought your neighborhood would have way more kids going around it.
I'm right up the street from a middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's other stuff that goes on in that neighborhood that is a bigger attraction than just traditional door-to-door trick-or-treating.
Maybe. Like our neighborhood, the street over, which is Taylor Street. I didn't know. So one of the houses at Taylor Street, near what used to be Taylor's Court Market, it's soon to be a Mexican restaurant.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Sunday chilaquiles.
Mm.
Anyway, the house next to them, they go out every year. Like they go bonkers. In fact, they run a Facebook page called like Haunters of Montevilla. And they have a different theme in their front yard every single year. So like 2 years ago, it was the Upside Down. Year before that, it was just long-haired ghost girls. And this year it was all pumpkins. Like they had the giant 12-foot pumpkin skeleton,
Oh, wow.
animatronic skeleton or pumpkin skeletons and ghosts on like seesaws.
Mm-hmm.
They get the city to block off all of that section of Taylor Street.
That's cool.
And then they line orange lit up bags all along the sidewalks. Apparently that's to say, like, if you see an orange bag or an orange light out front, that is a house that's giving out candy. So we got like spillovers from that, people who would glance down our street, because our street is just filled with fuddy-duddies and racists.
Mm-hmm.
I thought those were the same person.
No, fuddy-duddies are just boring. They're fuddy-duddy, but not a racist.
aggressive.
No, I specifically meant that one person that's on your street that I
Mm.
know is a racist is also the fuddy duddy. That you have multiple fuddy duddies in your neighborhood.
Daddies can be lighthearted, you know? It's like
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a crime or hurtful to be a fuddy duddy. It's just kind of a bummer. But
Yeah, like so there's
above
a
and beyond this.
yes, there's a woman across the street from us that bought that duplex. She's very nice. She knows when the Portland lights are on, she's welcome to pop over. That's the rule of Portland.
Mhm.
But she's kind of a fuddy-duddy.
Okay.
I think she's just of that age where if she's going out, it's with the girls or with her man, and then they come home.
Mhm.
But, you know, she's kind of a fuddy-duddy. And it's a brick house they painted white, so don't paint brick houses.
No.
Don't.
I have to live vicariously through y'all because
You don't live in
You don't get anything.
I live in Old Town Chinatown. It is 100% a neighborhood.
Yes.
It is not a neighborhood that anyone trick or treats it.
No.
Um,
And you don't have a big enough building with enough kids where it's like lobby trick or treating or
no.
trunk trick or treating, like
No.
they used to
Are
call
there
it.
any children in your building?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Mm.
capitalism forces families to live in studio apartments.
Oh.
Oh,
Wow.
fucking A, man. That's rough. That is super rough.
Yep. Capitalism.
Yeah.
It makes me feel a lot better about having to share my bedroom until I was 15. I guess.
That's also a cultural thing, I think.
Maybe, probably.
Yeah.
I just know I hated it.
And my sisters shared a bedroom until I think my stepsister and I were probably 14 or 15.
It's
Never.
just that's when my parents bought a home is when I was 15.
Ah.
And so we lived in 2-bedroom apartments until then.
Never had to share a bedroom with a sibling. I gave up my bigger bedroom when I got into high school. I was like, I'm literally just sleeping. I'm not doing anything else. So, like one weekend, I was like, let's swap rooms. So that was pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah, but that's the extent of how that ever went down. So, yeah, there you go. This is all true.
Yeah.
But yeah, October was. I didn't watch as many scary movies as I usually do.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it was kind of a little. Yeah, it was kind of a bummer. The ones I saw were good. So there's that.
That was how we ended. That was what America and I did was we watched a horror movie on Halloween.
Right.
That's what I did all day Sunday
Mm.
and Monday night when I stayed home. Did you guys have any favorites?
Barbarian was a big favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Yes, that was really good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you told us to go in blind and like not know what to expect.
Oh yeah, that was a fucking movie, wasn't
Also,
it?
how would you even explain that to someone who's thinking about watching it? All this to say, if you guys haven't already seen Barbarian, you should, but we can't tell you any more about it.
Yeah, just go see it. It's a fucking movie.
Yeah, go see it for sure. Although with Barbarian, can we officially call Justin Long a scream queen and or an actual final girl?
Sure.
Because that dude is in all of these movies now.
Yep.
You know, there's this one, Tusk. He technically survives Tusk. Drag Me to Hell.
Mm-hmm.
He survives that. I know there's others that I'm completely missing.
He's done a lot. He's done more than I thought. Because I just know him.
Oh shit, Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. He was in Live Free or Die Hard. But yeah, he has done a lot.
That movie is so bad.
It's so bad. But yeah, Drag Me to Hell. Yeah, he's officially a scream queen with all the stuff that he has done. That dude stays busy, busier, I think, than people think that he does. So yeah, definitely check him out.
Yeah, and for as weird as Barbarian is, like it also has solid acting performances.
Mhm.
Justin Long definitely turns in a performance where he makes you feel things.
Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely 100% bought his character.
Yeah.
His performance of that character.
Yep.
Um,
And all the truths and half truths and lies that he told himself to other people. Oh
Mhm.
man, it was so good.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was really good about that. I watched a bunch of older 80s Drek earlier in the month. I watched things like I rewatched what was that? One Dark Night, which I watched for the first time as a kid, and for some reason thought that movie was Mausoleum. And I have looked up Mausoleum. I've never seen Mausoleum. One Dark Night takes place in a mausoleum.
Okay.
It's Jennifer Tilly's first horror movie. It
Oh,
might
shit.
be Jennifer Tilly's first movie. Also stars Adam West.
Wait, why does IMDb say Meg Tilly?
Meg Tilly. What did I say?
Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly. Not Jennifer
I
Tilly.
didn't know there was another
Meg.
Tilly.
There is another Tilly. There's Jennifer Tilly.
I only knew about Jennifer Tilly. I did not know about Meg Tilly. Never heard her name before today.
Really?
Yeah.
Child's Play.
Bride of Chucky.
Bride of Chucky.
I thought those were all Jennifer Tilly.
No, that's Meg.
No, that's Jennifer Tilly.
That's
Those
Jennifer.
were Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh. then
Bound
I
is also
got-
Jennifer Tilly.
Then I got my Tillys confused.
Oh.
I've confused
You know,
my Tillys.
The other thing I watched on Shudder was the top 100 horror movie moments.
Oh.
And they finally did the final episode just a few days ago. I think it's 8 episodes total, an hour each one. And yeah, they do they kind of run they don't just do like the scariest movies ever, but they'll find different types of scenes and make a theme around that. So one episode is kind of dedicated to slashers and of why we find the appeal of slashers. And most lists, when they get to the top 10, you kind of know what's going to be there. Like The Exorcist is going to be there.
Yep.
Kind of thing. But they had a lot more modern shows than I expected, or modern movies. Like they had The Haunting of Hill House with the bent neck lady, about how that was a surprise.
Yep.
One of the episodes is about the art of the jump scare. And it always, number one, that always comes down to fucking Exorcist 3, the nurse station.
I've never seen Exorcist.
It is a tediously long shot because William Peter Blatty directed it and he wrote the novel The Exorcist.
Okay.
And it's down a long corridor and it's a mental hospital.
Down the long corridor also sounds like a horror movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one. And this nurse is this one, overnight nurse, night shift nurse. She's checking on random things, going over a clipboard. And the camera never moves. You see a couple cops because there's a serial killer that's in a padded room that you find out eventually has been possessed by the same demon that was in The Exorcist. Pazuzu or whatever. But it's so tedious. Like the 2 cops that are watching the room come in, they talk to her. It's all done with in-scene sound. So you hear the hall echo or when someone drops a paper coffee cup. And it goes on for 2 minutes. And then there's a part where she goes to one end of the screen and a patient yells at her. And you're like, oh, fuck, that was it. I can't fucking sleep in here. Blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, that was it. Then she goes back to the center of the hallway and you begin to hear weird clinking noises. And she freaks out. You find out all that is that it's just ice cracking in a thing of water. And she's like, oh, God. She goes back to the left side of the screen. And when she comes out, there's this nun in a white gown coming out with garden shears and just takes her head off. And it comes out of fucking no, even when you're ready for it. Because they talk in the show, they're like, you're ready for it if you know this scene. And every single time it gets you. Every time. Edgar Wright was one of the talking heads. And he was really good. So Soho made it into the top 30.
Oh, okay.
Which I didn't know Soho was that dedicated of a horror film.
One Night in Soho.
One Night in Soho,
I
yeah.
need to watch that
I
myself.
haven't either. There's a lot of movies I forgot about throughout the course of this year, but I did a little bit of catching up. I watched Jordan Peele's Nope finally.
Fine movie.
So
That
good.
was great.
Damn fine movie.
Yes.
Also,
That monkey's real, by the way. The story of the
Is it?
yeah.
Oh wow.
hmm
Uh,
It's based on a real
I forgot to
story.
check. I was curious about that because, like, I do know that chimps are quite dangerous.
Yep. Also, I want a Kiki Palmer-led rogue movie yesterday.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
Which one's Kiki Palmer? I gotta
She
remember.
was the sister. She's the,
Oh, okay.
yeah. She was her Halloween costume yesterday was Rogue,
That's awesome.
and she's running around in a Rogue costume, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the movie I want.
It's awesome.
It's weird. I feel like I super know her name, but I can't think of anything I've seen her in. Like I don't feel like I've seen her in that many things. I know she's on Legendary, that drag ballroom competition show.
Mm.
And even now, I'm like pulling up her, her CV, and I'm like, I haven't seen hardly any, like almost none of this.
She's also in Lightyear. She does a lot of voice acting.
Oh shit! I forgot for her rogue costume, she did stuff in front of a green screen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
cool.
And I also watched, speaking of Jordan Peele, I also watched the new Candyman.
What did you think of that?
I liked it.
I liked it. You really have to have knowledge of the first one
I
for it to work as well.
You know what's funny is after I watched it, I played the trailers for Candyman 2 and 1. Because apparently there were 3. I don't even
There were
remember.
3.
I didn't remember there being any sequels.
Yeah,
But,
there was Farewell to the Flesh.
Yeah,
That
I
might have been
thought
1 or
one.
2.
Watching the trailers, I recognized more scenes from Candyman 2 than the first one. But I did pick up on all of the references that they were making in this new one. So it's almost like a sequel, but it can just be its own story. So if you've never seen any of the other Candymans or don't remember anything, like me, you will still really enjoy it. It's got some really cool effects, a little bit of jump scare stuff, a moderate amount of body horror, which I am like really recognizing I cannot handle. I don't know like when that started or what, but it's like I can watch just about anything as long as it doesn't involve like I don't know body.
Which Candyman does a lot of.
So
Yes.
I'm going to be sitting in those movies alone, is what you're saying.
And real quickly,
No, sometimes I just can't watch. I'm just like no.
Jordan Peele produced and co-wrote.
Yeah, he didn't direct.
He didn't direct it. It was Nia DaCosta who directed it.
Ah, thank you. I knew he was involved, but I knew it wasn't like like all him.
Which is important to note because Tanoa Paris is in Candyman. She also became what is the character's name? Photon.
Photon.
Her civilian name.
Maria Rambo?
Maria. Yeah. Monica.
Monica.
Rambeau.
So she's Monica Rambeau. Nia DaCosta is directing the next Captain Marvel movie.
Ah, okay.
Oh, the Marvels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because so she has worked with Tanoa Paris before.
I thought she looked familiar, but I didn't place her, and I didn't
Oh,
want
yeah.
to spoil her or anything, so I didn't look her up at the time.
That's fair. Yeah.
That first Candyman really did a number on me too.
The original?
The original, the music, those slow aerial shots over Caprini Green.
I watched it when I did not appreciate what Candyman was. Like, my introduction to horror... Okay, my introduction really to horror was The Incredible Melting Man. Oof. Like, I had to get out of my 20s to get to a point where I understood what horror was and what it was doing and why it was good.
Okay.
So, like, I saw Candyman when it came out, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this isn't all that scary. And it's only now that I can watch it and go, oh,
That simple piano theme.
I know what they're doing.
You know that.
Yeah, I got, like, the day before your party, I got my Scream Factory annual shopping spree.
Your stack of steel cases, kind of thing.
Didn't get steel cases, but got a bunch of Blu-rays that were all on sale, which included The Thing.
Nice.
John Carpenter, The Thing.
Yeah.
Bubba Hotep.
I love that movie.
And the original Candyman.
Okay.
the movie that started all that off, though, that I went, oh, I have to have that. They finally have it in stock. I'm buying it now before it slips out of my fingers. Was motherfucking Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much. I can't wait to rewatch that.
It
But-
runs a little long for me now.
Does it?
I remember in the theater too, I thought like, we still got like half an hour to go. Okay.
Yeah, Brotherhood of the Wolf stars no one, Monica Bellucci, no one, Vincent Castle, no one, and Mark Dacascos.
Yeah, it was not a super well-known cast. It's a very French film also. Very French.
Jeremy Renier, which I guess is like the Jeremy Renner counterpart. He's like the
He's got the
French
big nose.
Jeremy Renner.
Okay.
Sorry.
He's got kind of like a really longish nose.
Yeah,
He's in Ocean's 12. Everyone wanted him to play the Joker for the longest time.
Yeah, I've never seen Brotherhood of the Wolf.
no one has. Very
I did.
like
Like it debuted here at Fox. Remember when Fox Tower was just for like
Yes.
Sundance movies?
uh-huh.
That's where we saw that, and we saw the Marquis de Sade movie with Jeffrey Rush
Oh wow.
within like a
Okay.
week, which is funny because the Marquis de Sade's writings works in heavily in Brotherhood of the Wolf, the Beast of Gendarme.
Brotherhood of the Wolf is one of those movies that you either saw it or you have no idea what the hell anyone is talking
Yeah,
about. But yeah, like so, like watching the original Candyman now, it's like, oh, this is so good and
Mhm.
so like everything about it. To like, we also look at things like what the hell, the lead character who is this good-natured, wants to do something good white woman going into
Virginia Madsen?
Yeah, Virginia Madsen going into the projects and it going horribly wrong.
horribly wrong.
On many levels.
Yeah, the scene they showed for Candyman on that Shudder series. First off, Tony Todd's one of the talking heads, and I can listen to Tony Todd speak
Oh.
all day
he's
long.
Great.
Yeah. But he talks about the scene in the parking garage,
Mm.
you know, when he's like, Helen. He's like, parking garages are creepy to begin with.
Yes, they are.
But that's when he has the whole be my victim.
Yeah.
And I think that's the scene where he kisses her, where he really did have a mouthful of bees. He's like, I'm from the theater. If you tell me this was supposed to happen,
Oh
he's
my
like, sometimes at
God.
night, he's like, sometimes if I think about it, I can feel them moving in my mouth still.
Ooh.
But yeah, the mouthful of bees was a thing that really happened.
I mean, they probably smoked the bees first, but that's crazy.
Because remember, he just opens his mouth and they just kind of
Oh,
come
yeah.
out of him.
I also really appreciated that they brought in people from. They brought in Tony Todd. They brought in Virginia Madsen just for audio, but
Sure.
again, like they really connected the thread between the first movie. I can't really speak for the other two, but that first movie and this new story.
Yeah, I don't think I ever watched 2 or 3.
I saw Farewell to the Flesh. Farewell to the Flesh, this only matters to music nerds, has a really good score. Like, really, really good. And then they did Day of the Dead, which is not good at
Is
all.
that the third one?
Yeah.
I didn't watch the trailer for that one, but like I said, I feel like I remember more about number 2 than number 1. So I think at some point I'll probably go back and watch them all again.
But you're right. They did do a great job tying up that through line from the original Candyman to the Nia DaCosta one, where it's like, oh, you're the kid. You're the baby from Cabrini Green.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
It's been out for 2 years.
Yeah,
folks.
and the original one, you see that baby pretty quickly in the movie.
Yep.
In 1991.
Mhm.
I was very much primed for Candyman. I knew way too much about the Bloody Mary urban legend and was convinced I have experienced it before in grammar school, in elementary school. And then when it came out, I used to stay at my grandparents' house for like the weekend because they lived in town. And I would bike everywhere, so I didn't have to do a 6-mile bike down a mountain to visit friends to go play the Star Wars RPG. And both of their bedrooms, their bedroom and their second bedroom, they had the closet doors of mirrors.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was like no escaping a mirror in their house. And I'm just like, and mirrors creep me out to begin with. You know, body shame issues and mirrors are just freaky to me. I don't like to look into them very much.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have this whole thing about like, what if it's someone in another dimension doing the exact same thing you are right now?
Mm-hmm.
But mirrors,
That's fair.
yeah, and they just creep me out. So I was very much primed for Candyman, and it like left a massive impression on me. So yeah,
I definitely watched it when I was too young, but I always liked it. Probably where I first developed my appreciation of Tony Todd.
mm-hmm.
So I had been very excited for this movie, and then I just got sidetracked.
Yep.
So I enjoyed it. I'm glad I finally got to it.
Yeah, it's good.
And then yeah, Tony Todd had some fun in the Final Destination films.
Yes, he did.
That also made the list. I think the second one, because the second one is the logging truck on the highway.
Is it? I thought that was the first one.
First one's a plane. It's a
First
class
one's a plane.
trip.
I'm sorry. I'm going to give a shout out to a couple of friends of mine who also run a horror podcast. This may heard of it.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
It's John C. Myers and James Strayer. They specifically do entire runs of horror movies with sequel after sequel after sequel.
So they'll hit an entire franchise.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
They started with Friday the 13th, and then followed that with Phantasm, and most recently just finished off the Final Destination.
Wow.
They're great.
They're great. That first two movie, the kills were like they gave you the setup because that's the thing. They're like, hey, look, this is what's going to do it. But I remember the first two movies, the kills were a lot, and then it just got goofy.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything goes beyond 3 films, they really jump the shark in terms of like what the villain is capable of, or whether or not the villain is in space now.
Right.
I think it sometimes depends. Like that's one of the things that I like about their podcast. And again, I am sick to death of listening to white guys talk about movies, any kind, in any format. So for me to go out of my way, even for friends, to listen to 2 white guys talk about horror movies, you have to be doing something special about it.
So that is a strong endorsement.
Yes. Like I wouldn't. I'm friends with them. I wouldn't endorse them if I didn't like what they do.
Yeah.
So, but like, if you've been friends with me for a long time, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I may support you. If I support you that publicly, that means you're also doing something good. That's why I always have supported Aaron and all the stuff that he does.
Thanks.
Because it's good.
Thank you.
But yeah, like that's
sorry.
they do talk about like in Final Destination where it goes, they go too far away from what it should be.
Yeah.
Like, and they talk about how number 2 is probably their favorite because of the kills in it and the things that they do in it. Tony Todd is the through line through all of them.
He's essentially death.
Yeah.
You cannot escape him.
Yep. They hated 5 up until the twist at the end. And then they're like, oh, well, okay, that's fine.
What was the twist? I don't remember.
Number 5 is a prequel.
Oh.
That's the twist?
That is the twist.
Okay.
I only
because
remember having seen
It
the first
ends
2
with
movies.
talking about the flight that is about to happen in the first movie.
Oh, right. Yeah, that flight scene at the beginning of the first one's unsettling if you have an issue with flying.
Yeah,
Mm.
and they could never do that again now. Like that's a
No, they won't.
that was a pre 9/11 movie.
Yeah.
Nah.
Especially if you see partying on a plane as it's
Yeah.
taking off. Like it's one of those things. But yeah, the logging truck in number 2
Yep,
is,
they
especially
like
if
that.
you grew up with those kinds of fucking logging
in
trucks.
Oregon.
Yeah, Northern California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trucks.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I was not used to those when I moved here. Then yeah, every now and then on the road. Oh, that's the one I'm thinking of. It's not the logging truck, but there's one where they're like behind a truck with a bunch of pipes, and so
That's the Descent.
the descent.
Hmm.
What?
They're some of the women are they're driving behind a car with a bunch of pipes,
Mhm.
That's in the first 5 minutes because the wife of the husband is killed because a pipe goes through her because it goes through the windshield, and then all the women get back together a year later and be like, we're gonna go on this caving in her honor because they're all cavers.
Mm-hmm.
So that one opens with a pipe through the head or whatever.
Oh yeah, yep. Look at those pipes.
Yeah.
Pipes through cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we ended up sitting around watching the Trick or Treat for our Halloween.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
I forgot how much I loved it.
It's
I
so
knew
wonderful.
that I loved it, but I picked
That's a good spin on werewolves.
It is.
Yeah.
We watched, and it was also the Scream Factory Blu-ray, so we watched all the special features at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And one, I keep forgetting that Mike Doherty is also the director of Krampus,
Yes.
and that the motherfucker's only directed 3 movies.
Yeah, I think he's been a cinematographer or something. Screenwriter. Yeah, he got screwed over by Bryan Singer, kind of.
Sort of. Yep.
Because Bryan Singer was like, this is my friend. He's got a horror movie idea. So Warner Brothers was going to give Trick or Treat a theatrical cut release. And when Superman Returns bombed, they punished Dougherty, basically. And then it went on Warner Brothers Select. And it became like Warner Brothers' best-selling DVD for the year when it finally came out. Because it's like, no, this is the Halloween movie.
Yeah, it was saved by, he goes into that in one of the interviews, which I found fascinating. It was great to watch that and go, oh, this is, I'm glad that they put these things together so that you can watch these interviews with these people. He talks about the fact that the main reason that Trick or Treat has the cult following that it does is because it got screened at a single. It was one of the good things that Harry Knowles did.
One of his button-umathons?
Yes, the 24-hour movie marathon, and it was the last movie, and everyone who came out of that went, "The fuck was that? That was amazing!
Yeah.
Where do we find this? When does it come out?"
And it should have had we're at peak Anna Paquin True Blood too when this movie drops. So that was like, why? Is it pre?
It came out in 2007. True Blood started in 2008.
Oh, well, shit on me.
Yeah. No, we did all of this deep dive yesterday as we were watching this going, when did this come out? Wait, this was before True Blood? Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. It's got Sam. Sam's my favorite.
Fuck, I didn't know that was a fucking kid.
Yeah.
Sam was a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing.
He's got my favorite. When the what's her name blows out the pumpkins and he's white, he goes, no, you can't do that.
The kid's now in his 20s, but
sure, yeah.
He was the peeping Tom kid in when the werewolves are
oh, and they're talking about the people they banged last year.
Yeah, so
she's like, yours was a woman, and she's like, who cares? She had a great ass.
Yeah, so she still has he still has an on-screen moment with his real face, but yeah. And I get it. I get why that happened. But, and there are all sorts of things. Like Warner Brothers also had a problem with the fact it's like, yeah, this is a great movie. We're not quite sure how to market it. Also, did you just kill a bunch of kids? Oh yeah.
Oh, the bus?
Not just the bus.
Home. Gotta go home.
Yep. The kids on the bus get killed. You've seen Trick or Treat,
yes,
yeah?
Yes.
You remember the vampire kid on the bus?
Anyone who hangs out with me is gonna watch Trick or Treat.
There's a kid on the bus with a vampire mask. That's Richard fucking Harmon from the 100.
Oh shit!
Which one's Richard Harmon?
He's the guy that's always undermining everybody.
Oh, that little weasel.
Yeah. That guy. That's
I
the
did not
fucking
make that
vampire.
connection.
It's because you never see his face. I was looking through it last night and went, no shit.
Fucking kind of Brian Cox is just wonderful in that movie.
And he talks about the fact that his look for that movie was an homage to John Carpenter.
I could totally see that.
He said on screen, he's like, No, I wanted. It's like I met John at a party years ago. I love what he's done for the genre. I wanted to do an homage to him, so I asked for a thin nose and scraggly hair. Like I wanted to do a guy that looked like John Carpenter. I'm like, that's amazing, Brian Cox. You're awesome.
That's so great. God, yeah, that has so many amazing scenes.
And Dylan Baker just being nuts.
Yeah, and the young woman, she's not an actor. I don't think she's acting anymore. Who's the witch, the little kid? She's like, it's called Samhain.
Yep.
And I love at the very end when she leaves the other kids to die,
Yeah.
be murdered by the zombie kids on the bus. The little wave she gives Sam from the elevator, and he goes, hey, and then he just runs off.
Yep.
I'm like, oh yeah, no, they're kindred spirits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam is definitely one of my favorite Halloween and horror movie figures
So
that have
great.
come out. Like he definitely is right up there with Michael and Freddy and Jason and
Yeah.
Candyman as far as recognizability. It's like, oh yeah, it's great. They made him in fucking college. Like Sam was his.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he created an animated short, hand drawn, called Season's Greetings, that was starred Sam.
Mm.
So he's been sitting with this character since college.
Yes, and
Wow.
and I think Sci-Fi at one time has sewn some of the shorts because they've done like whatever
Yep.
31 days of Halloween, where like Sam's like at every holiday, and
Yeah, the special edition, the special Blu-ray
Mhm.
has that short from his college thesis on, which he
Nice.
did like 10 years before the movie came out. So that's how long he's been sitting with it.
Oh.
Fascinating.
yeah, there were,
Development forever,
it has been.
but it is on his IMDb as
Okay.
in development.
Was a time when Bob Schreck ran Legendary Comics
Oh yeah.
that I was going to get to pitch the Trick or Treat comic.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I don't even think Legendary Comics exists anymore,
It
other
is
than
not.
as an entity. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was done. Yeah. And then I'm trying to find, I did watch Halloween Ends. It's very divisive.
That was one of our options, and like, oh, I have to pay for this on Peacock. Let's watch Trick or Treat.
So I have like 4 days left in my trial week. I feel like Jamie Lee Curtis got kind of the short end of the stick with Laurie Strode. I wanted there to be more at the end.
Okay.
I really wanted it to be more. There's like a whole passing of the evil entity. At least that's the vibe that we're given, that Michael Myers passes his evil on to somebody else.
Mm.
Yeah. It's not bad. I mean, because they all had themes, but this one doesn't seem to have one. Like the first Halloween, the newer ones, is very much a survivor's movie.
Sure.
Domestic violence, a survivor film. Halloween Kills, I think, is more about town paranoia. Halloween Ends, just for me, doesn't have a theme at all to it. I still enjoyed it. Yeah, Norm, you're right.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's good.
That's not nothing.
I'm gonna mute you while you're doing that then. But the thing I found out from the director,
Yeah.
he came very close to doing this, and I would have given him all the chef's kiss. He almost gave Halloween Ends the Halloween 3 Season of the Witch ending.
See, I've never seen the Halloween 3, so tell me.
Halloween 3 is what Carpenter always imagined Halloween being an anthology series.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he always wanted it to be. And 3 is a complete breakaway, Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
So we get the, happy, happy Halloween, only 2 more weeks, kids. That's how he was going to end Halloween Ends, was with those masks that make people's face melt. And I was like, he thought long and hard of like, we can do that ending, it'll be great. and it would have been great. Not as good as Busta Rhymes drop kicking Michael Myers.
God damn it.
Because, peace be upon, Mr. Rhymes.
That movie was fucking ridiculous.
What was that, H2O 2? Because it was after H2O.
Yes. It was after H2O. I feel like it was Halloween Resurrection. That's what it was called.
Okay.
I think.
I'm going to believe you.
Yes, it was Resurrection.
Yeah, it was dumb. Oh man, that
It was dumb. I remember liking H2O. But again, being disappointed at what they went. Because I feel like in H2O, Laurie Strode, she's a teacher.
Yep.
And they lean hard into the Frankenstein myth of creating your own monster that becomes more than you can control and staring into the abyss. Because it ends with Michael Myers like pinned under a bus, his body slumped over a trunk.
Uh-huh.
And she takes an axe, and I was like, oh, and the way she was, she's like, Michael, this is all, you've been my whole life. I really thought she was going to take the mask and put it on, like just doing the whole message 360, like take his head off, put the mask on, and walk off into the woods. I was like, oh, ballsy. They didn't. They had to wait until Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, and I think earlier this year, I rewatched H2O and watched Halloween Resurrection, and boy, they're both bad. H2O is not good.
Yeah, in my memory, I'm going to let it stay there.
That's fair. I think the problem with it is, what the fuck? Cool. Sorry.
Nor
Sorry.
mentioned someone's excellent cosplay, and I wanted to.
Oh, Taffeta?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think her partner went as somebody else from Trick or Treat.
And then the one right before that is Dazzler.
Oh, her Dazzler is great. There's a picture of us together with her as Dazzler at, I think, the Denver Con.
With an expertly placed disco ball.
Yes. She's very good at expertly placing things around her. Yeah, her Sam is like the burlap sacks open. You can see the Sam face.
Yep.
I keep trying to get her and her partner to cosplay at a show as Kelly Sue in Fraction. Whenever I see them, like, you guys could pull that off. And she's like, yeah, probably.
Is she short and him tall?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Taffeta's like 5'4", if that. And her partner, he's a tallie.
He's a head taller. He's a head taller than she is.
It's not
But sometimes she'll wear like horn rim glasses, and he'll wear like a up to his neck sweater, and you'll see them pose together like it's American Gothic, and I'm like, oh my god, you guys are Matt and Kelly Sue. It's hilarious. So yeah, this is all true. You should check out Halloween 3.
back to movies.
I do want to watch Halloween 3. That's the only one of the entire series that I've never seen.
Yep, it's one he did the music for. It's a Dino De Laurentiis movie, or produced by.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Sam, you can't have one man in a cabin all day for a movie, Sam. That's from Evil Dead 2, because Dino De Laurentiis was the production company for Evil Dead 2. And Dino De Laurentiis was notorious for not leaving the city he was in to visit a set. And at the time, I think he had an office in Atlanta. He's like, Sam, you can't shoot your film more than 20 miles away from Atlanta. Otherwise, I can't visit. Well, sorry, Dino. Sam, I read your script. You have this one man by himself in a cabin for 70 pages.
Yep.
He's like, you should have seen the original draft. It's just him in the cabin the whole time. And of course, Deborah Hill produced Halloween 3. Because remember, none of these happened without Deborah Hill.
This is true.
Yeah. In fact, you can make a pretty strong through line of when Carpenter drops off and Deborah Hill passes away.
Before or after Ghost of Mars?
I think after. So she passed away in 2005.
Oh wow.
Well, she co-wrote Escape from L.A., so nobody's perfect.
Producing does not a writer make.
Yes, she did Halloween. She wrote Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, Halloween 2. Escape from L.A. But she fucking produced The Fisher King, The Fog, World Trade Center, Adventures in Babysitting, Clue. In fact, I think somewhere out there you can buy a shirt that just says a film by Deborah Hill or produced by Deborah Hill.
Nice.
I'd wear the hell out of that shirt. Yeah. Yeah. But when she was gone, he kind of dropped off there.
I mean, he still has in many ways. He's there, and he cashes checks.
Yep.
He'll write some music, but he's like, yeah, I'm good.
Yep. Every time someone asks him, like, how do you feel about how your creation is treated? Like Michael Myers, he's like, every time that dude shows up on TV, I get a fat check in the mail.
Yep.
So
Like, I'm fine.
so he can fucking play his video games and eat his fried chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What a genius. Fucking Busta Rhymes.
What other good movies did we see? Or
I'm
did
tr-
you
I've been
see
trying to
really
think.
bad ones?
Well, I'll be right back. So yes.
Oh,
But I won't
definitely-
screen off because
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't touch it. I definitely
No touching.
watched something, and we watched the whole thing, and then at the end of it, Christian and I looked at each other like, eh. And I was like, oh, if I had known you weren't enjoying it, I would have said let's change it ages ago. It wasn't very long, but I was like, I thought you were super into it, so I just kept watching. I really wish I could remember.
And he probably thought the same thing. He's like, oh, I thought you were into it. That's why.
I know I was even trying to look up like my watch history while we were talking, but I couldn't find it.
I had to put together an Excel spreadsheet that I'm still working through. Like there are other. What are some of these others? Let's see. Humanoids from the Deep. That was bad.
It sounds bad.
It was from 1980. There was a. Like I remember the tagline being something about it's like they killed the men and raped the women. It's like, okay,
Is that your whole thing?
that was the whole thing. They killed the men and raped the women, and then they killed the women.
That sounds bad.
Yeah, it's a neat concept and feels very Lovecraftian, but they went very exploitative with it. There's Prom Night, which is another Jamie Lee Curtis movie. The Twist. Someone's taking peanuts. That was also 1980. What else?
I wish I could remember.
There's Slumber Party Massacre, which fascinates me in that it feels like it's a traditional exploitative 80s movie with co-eds, except it's written by a woman and directed by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And the sequel was written by a woman and directed by a woman.
Yep.
And then the third movie was written by a woman and directed by a woman. It's like,
I feel like we've talked about that one before.
I think I brought up that I want to dive into that a little more. There's the original Sleepaway Camp, which needs to be seen, but is also problematic. And depending on who is viewing, I would give them the spoiler with comments. So they don't get to the end and go, the fuck did you make me watch, dude?
What movie?
Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, okay.
Christian showing up with the assist. The one that we watched and then we're like looked at each other, realized we didn't need to finish the whole movie was one called "We're All Going to the World's Fair."
I've never heard of this movie.
And
it's clearly not good.
Apparently it's allegedly some sort of a film fest darling.
Allegedly.
So I don't think it has a big release, and it's all filmed in not found footage, but it's this young girl who has essentially like a YouTube channel, and so all the footage is of her doing recordings that she's ostensibly uploading to the internet. And it's also a little bit of that, well, not a little bit. The plot is it's one of those, internet trends. So, the World's Fair is this. We're going to the World's Fair is this thing that people are doing on like the dark web, and so you have to do the challenge, and the challenge involves like stabbing yourself in the finger to give some blood, and then repeating into the camera, "I want to go to the World's Fair," like 3 to 5 times, classically. And then you're just supposed to keep reporting back with any symptoms. That's it. That's the whole setup. And so then it's her like watching videos of other people reporting what they're experiencing. And she's recording herself and talking about whether or not she feels anything. And then she just got kind of weird. At some point, she just starts acting kind of weird. And I was very underwhelmed. I didn't feel like there was enough story. I didn't feel like it was compelling in any sort of like visual or storytelling way. I don't even have that much to say about it. That's how underwhelming it was.
Sounds like it.
Man, yeah, no kidding.
Sorry.
Norm keeps saying he keeps harping on Interview with the Vampire. I know.
I did intend to watch that this weekend.
Did you get AMC Plus?
No, I would have signed up for the free trial or whatever. But instead, I ended up watching all these other movies that we talked about. I also watched X.
That I still need to see.
Which is
Ty
this-
West movie.
Which is the middle in his porn horror trilogy. I do
What's-
believe the movie Pearl takes place before X.
I think Pearl happens. It's more recent. I think it's out in theaters now, but it is in fact a prequel. I assume it's based on a character that is in the
Pearl.
movie X.
Pearl was in theaters. It's now streaming.
Okay.
So
It was interesting. Yes,
Mhm.
it is very porn centric, but I don't consider that like a
No,
a problem.
It's
It's just-
because-
that's what he's doing though.
yeah, that's the theme of the movie is they're making a porn,
Mhm.
and then it's a horror movie.
Yeah, that's pretty much the story.
I still want to watch the other one that I see up on your screen there, Black Phone. I want to watch that more than I want to
That's
watch.
good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
That's
Oh,
another
yeah,
Blumhouse breakaway.
I did not. It didn't seem good in the trailers, so I never
Really?
got an interest.
Oh, the trailer got me. Like the
Mhm.
first trailer I watched, I'm like, oh, okay. You said the words horror and Ethan Hawke. I'm in.
It's that's also the one that reminded me of how good of a performer or performances Ethan Hawke turns in
Oh yeah,
when he's inspired by the script and the story.
fucking solid.
It's so good. Yeah.
And then one of the other ones that I watched that was good was called Goodnight Mommy, and it is a 2022, but it is a remake of a 2014 Austrian film.
Mhm.
And it's about these twin brothers, and the dad has just dropped them off with their mom. So clearly, there's a separation and a shared custody situation going on, and I don't think that they actually said how long it had been, but it is implied that the boys have not seen or been with their mother in some time. And when they arrive, she's got this like a mesh mask. She says she's just had a procedure done and she needs to leave it on. And the movie proceeds. They're having their stay, and she's acting very strangely. And the boys start to suspect that this woman is not who she says she is, i.e., this is not our real mom. And there is a twist, and I'm gonna try not to give it away. So I'll just wrap it up here. We came very close to the reveal of the twist before I realized, oh, that's the twist. So it had me going, for sure, and it was pretty well performed. I'm trying to remember who the actress, the main actress who plays the mom.
Well, while you're looking that up, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
We're back, and Denise has the answer.
It was Naomi Watts.
Booyah!
Yeah.
That's classic there.
I haven't seen her in anything in a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like the last thing I saw her in was I Heart Huckabees, and I don't think that's correct, but that's the last thing that's memorable
Mhm.
of hers.
Mm,
And she's not new to horror; like she's did the American remakes of The Ring.
right.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I went on like an Ethan Hawke kick because then I watched Sinister. I kind of brushed that off at first because like, it's gonna have a lot of quiet, jump scares, and I just didn't care. It's good, especially with the lawnmower scene that he's watching on the home film.
Huh.
Ugh.
I need to watch Sinister.
It's very good.
I've found that with Blumhouse movies, I don't necessarily like everything that Blumhouse puts out, but I 100% am glad to support with my dollars what Blumhouse is doing
Mm-hmm.
because they turn around and like their goal is to just keep putting out horror.
Yeah.
And like if they put out, is it you that was telling me this, that their goal is to just put out 10, 20 movies a
That's
year?
the
And if one makes good, then it makes back the money for all of
That's
them.
what they had mentioned. He's like, Blumhouse has a production budget for the year, and it's like, all right, it's $20 million, and we have 12 scripts we're gonna make. You only need one of them to crack the $20 million box office, and you've covered everything because they do almost all their marketing is viral or online,
Mhm.
which is still decidedly less expensive.
They've got that partnership with Hulu.
Yeah. So Sinister was a $3 million budget. It made 87 US box office.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It is good. I saw it. I went flipping through the pictures to remind myself. Yeah, it's a good one. It's very I don't want to say slow, but it does a good job of sort of like building up.
Building?
the
Yeah.
horror.
It's the
Which I'm fine with.
monsters have always been in the house.
Sure.
Have always been in the family.
Like I
It always kind of reminds me of the Taking of Deborah Logan
I fucking love that movie. That movie was
as
so
like an
good.
Alzheimer's allegory also because it just fucking hits so hard.
Christian and I watched that when we were like first dating, and we still talk about it.
Nice.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's intense for sure, but I highly recommend.
There was a whole era of like, it's maybe the devil movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2005, the original Exorcism of Emily Rose is also very good.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of based on a true story also about the exorcist that I think hurt the girl. There's a story where an exorcist, like a family brings in someone to perform an exorcism and he accidentally kills the kid.
Right.
And I think they made a movie about it and it's all done as like a courtroom drama. Yeah. Yeah, we're kind of in another golden age of horror again, for sure.
Around that time, I feel that's also when the Autopsy of Jane Doe came out.
Fuck.
And that's also
That's
another.
That's
good
very
one,
good.
too.
That made the list, the
Yeah.
Shudder list
That
too.
was solid. It was a solid horror movie.
Uh-huh. I was really afraid when I first saw the trailer for it and the poster. I really thought it was going to be another version of, I think it's called Girlfriend,
I think I know that.
the
one.
zombie movie where the girl is a zombie, but she hasn't decayed at all. The tagline is "You never forget your first time." It's rough. It's very rough.
Very hard title to search
Would it
for.
be Girl Fiend?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
It's no Frankenhooker, is what you're saying.
Want a date? No, it is not. At least Frankenhooker is kind of, well, it's funny. You know.
Yeah.
No, this one is not. It's these two teenage boys. One of them finds the girl and drags her down to their basement.
Oh yes,
Yes.
I've heard about
Yes.
that.
And the actress playing her is naked the entire episode. She's not really cognizant because she's a zombie. And they use her.
Isn't
Things
it
go
called
badly
The
for them.
Girl?
It might just be called The Girl. Either way, it's, again, solid movie, but know what you're going into. It's not called just The Girl. Know what you're going, you brace yourself.
Yep.
It's just like when I can recommend, I think the movie is just called Vengeance or Revenge. I think it was an early A24 movie. 2017 Revenge,
Mhm.
which is, it tonally, at least in the background, borrows a lot from I Spit on Your Grave.
Which I didn't realize they had remade that movie.
3 times, like with 3
And
sequels.
with 2 sequels.
2, yeah.
It's called Dead Girl.
Thank you.
Dead
one
Girl.
word.
Yeah.
Girl.
Dead Girl.
Um,
I've never seen the original. I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can watch it. I don't
No.
know that I can watch the remake. I think I tried. I put it on and I'm like, I really don't want to go here. I just don't.
yeah, I Spit on Your Grave is X for a reason.
Mhm. That's why I haven't seen it either.
Like I get that I like the concept of the revenge on this, but to include that in the getting there is, I think, what I'm like, nope, I don't need to watch that. I don't need to see that.
Yeah.
I know that is a horror that already exists in the world.
Just the revenge horror.
Yeah.
So
not the revenge horror, the rape to get there.
yeah,
The rape left for dead.
the movie Revenge has that also. Its one credit is that none of it's ever filmed to titillate or a male gaze. Like ever.
Great.
It's a very French, though. The movie's very French. Directed by a French woman.
Okay.
It's very well made. I think it might have been one of the first movies I ever saw on Shudder was Revenge. Yeah. That's also the problem with Last House on the Left. Like that's how that starts too.
Yeah.
With a crazy family that assaults people out in the woods.
Yep.
Like very graphically. You can tell that's Wes Craven making his
Sorry.
that's Wes Craven making his Vietnam commentary.
Um,
Like all those directors from that era
Sure.
were doing that.
that makes a lot more sense.
Because all the main killings are done by the victims' families.
Mhm.
You know, they find them. Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a remake.
Which one?
The Last House on the Left.
It is? I'm sure they made another one.
They did make.
There is a modern one.
Oh.
I did not realize that there was a 1970s Wes Craven.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the original.
That's the original one. And
That
again,
had been remade.
Yeah,
very,
and-
very
and-
rough.
Yep. There's a podcast that's named after it.
Yeah, it's just called The Last Horror Podcast on the Left.
It's the last podcast.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's the trick with a lot of the 70s and 80s horror movies, early 80s, like the beginnings of them. If they have any sort of, all of this is motivated by assault, it's on screen, and you go, oh, nope.
Yeah,
I don't think I want to deal with that.
I think because a lot of the writers and directors are playing off, like you can argue that The Summer of Love was like America's final innocent time. And everything after that, innocence was tainted. And that's
Oh, yeah.
where you get all of these exploitive horror movies.
Yeah.
You get people reflecting what they saw on the news. Because like you were watching the nightly news with like U.S. soldiers coming home in body bags.
Yeah.
That's why George W. didn't allow them to film during the second Gulf War. He's like, we're not fucking showing that.
Yeah.
It goes badly for us.
And I think that's why movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Yeah.
which came out in that era,
74.
work, because that wasn't glorified. That wasn't the focus of it. We didn't see the trauma that put any of those people there. We get to see the horror of it. And especially with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where it's like these people have resorted to cannibalism because their livelihoods have been taken away.
Yeah, this Texas Chainsaw Massacre works in the same way, in a weird way, that All in the Family works. If your super conservative, shitty grandfather loves All in the Family, it's because he loves Archie Bunker. But your super progressive, liberal, whatever, he loves All in the Family, so he can point out everything wrong with Archie Bunker. So depending on your viewing, those are just hippies getting what's coming to them in the flatlands of Texas.
Yep.
Getting what they deserve. Yeah, so that plays off both of those things. Also, that house exists with the chicken bones and everything. It's gone now, but like that's how they found that house. Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is still so good.
Yeah.
I need to watch 2. That one I haven't seen.
That's just Leatherface.
It's also
The one with
when,
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, that's also when Bill Moseley is added to the cast.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize that was his entry into
Chop Top.
why he's part of horror. Which makes a lot more sense.
Right. And then they did Leatherface,
Mm-hmm.
the sequel.
Yep.
And then Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3,
Mm-hmm.
The Next Generation. With Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger. Yeah. Exactly what you think it is.
The ones with Jessica, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake with Jessica Biel, not good.
It's boring.
It
It's
is.
slow.
And
And even I am like, that's enough shots from Jessica Biel's butt.
yeah, it's like, oh, okay, we get it. You paid her a lot of money to do nothing but wear a pair of low-rise jeans and a tank top.
Yeah.
We get it.
And she works it.
I think you mentioned that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. It's yeah. And it, for me, the remake's biggest fatal flaw is it's just fucking boring.
Yep.
Same with the Friday the 13th remake.
It's mean.
It's mean.
It
It just bored
Fucking
me.
mean.
And some of the worst CGI blood I've ever seen.
Yeah, Friday the 13th in and of itself is unique. But Friday the 13th Part 2 is fun.
Yeah, it's fun. That's when
Same
he's still
with-
in a sack.
Yes, and same with Friday the 13th Part 3, which is in 3D.
Right.
Both of those are great.
Yeah, all three of
Right.
those are great.
Because they turn right into it's like, you want to see a bunch of college age kids get killed at a camp? That's what we've got for you. It's like,
Yeah.
great. I think the final girl for Friday the 13th Part 2 is definitely more in the model of the Laurie Strodes than the first final girl from Friday the 13th Part 1.
Okay.
I don't remember either one of their names right now. The one from Part 2, like, had a psychology degree, used her psychology degree to defeat Jason.
Yeah, she just say like Jason.
Yeah,
She acts like
she-
Mother Voorhees.
Yeah, she looked at what was going on and went, "Oh, I can imprint on Jason to make him think I'm his mother. Come back from the dead."
Yeah.
Like
Smart.
it's clever. Like the characters in 2 are clever. The characters in 3 are goofy and stereotypical, and it is gimmicky as fuck because it is a 3D movie.
Yes.
So you can look at every single one of those kills and like, that would have been great in a theater in 3D.
Hmm.
It would have been awesome.
Yeah.
So goofy.
I think 3 also had the sleeping bag murders, sleeping bag kills. That the 2 girls that are fooling around and Jason Voorhees kills them in their sleeping bags by slamming them against a tree. Because they recreate the hologram of that on Jason X. Let's have premarital sex.
Yes, yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Oh, now I'm just falling down the remake rabbit hole, which is leading me to Rob Zombie's Halloweens, which are not good.
Oh, I wanted to like those so bad.
Me too. I want to like every Rob Zombie movie, and I have liked 2.
So what are the 2 for Rob Zombie?
Devil's Rejects
Okay.
and Lords of Salem, because it swings for the fences. it whips that it doesn't do it, but it tries really hard. And look, he adores his wife, and it's so great. Sherry Moon Zombie is not a good actor.
I think she can be. I think there are times that
Okay.
she can turn in a performance that is good.
Well, clearly because I like her in Devil's Rejects, and I kind of like her in Lords of Salem.
So I watched very recently. I watched Halloween and Halloween 2 of Rob Zombie's,
Right.
and they're very bad. At no point did I want a backstory for Michael fucking Myers. That's the whole thing that makes him scary. Is he's just a kid that fucking snapped, and nobody knows why. He was
Right.
a suburban kid that had everything. And one night he just walks upstairs and kills his teenage sister at the age of 7.
Mm-hmm.
Is put into like a psych ward for the rest of his life. And when he escapes, he just goes right back to killing people. No reason. Like, that's what's terrifying about Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Making it so he's from a fucked up home. It's like,
Yeah.
no,
Great.
That's not okay. Okay. I also watched 31, which is a bunch of carnies that get kidnapped by
Oh, yeah.
McDowell and forced to play the Hunger Games, essentially. It's like all of these people are great. This movie just does not hang together. It's
Right.
a bunch of teens. The only thing that I got out of that was that one of the actors went on to play Herman Munster in Zombies Munsters movie, and seeing him on screen with Sherry Moon, it's like, good. I know the two of you have chemistry. Like her performance in the Munsters, I actually liked. I liked her Lily Munster.
Yeah.
I thought the performances in the Munsters was great. I did not overall like how it hung together.
Yeah, I
But-
didn't need a prequel to how they became.
But every single actor in that movie had a lot of fun and did great jobs playing the characters they did, especially the guy that played Herman. I loved him. He was
Sure.
great. It's just the overall story was like, meh.
Yeah. You might dig Lords of Salem.
Oh, I like Lords of Salem.
Oh,
Lords
okay.
of Salem was great.
Yeah.
But it's Devil's Rejects. That's the one that I love.
Yes.
And that's the one that I keep going, what is it about that movie that is so different than everything else that he's done?
Rob Zombie, because this is the era he loves, he's really good when he's doing dirtbag criminals in the 70s.
Yeah.
Because he did 3 from Hell, which is a sequel to Devil's Rejects, and it's not bad. But
Dave
that's
and I
his
were-
wheelhouse.
Yeah, Dave and I were talking about that. The reason that falls short is the fact that Sid Haig was sick.
Yeah.
And could not fully reprise Captain Spaulding.
Yeah.
And that's why they brought in Richard Brake.
Okay.
Who, again, to circle back, who was recently just in Barbarian.
Is he
Yeah.
the old guy?
He is. I like Richard Brake.
For a second there, I thought I was thinking about X because I watched
Back to
them
back.
back to back,
Yeah.
which is kind of thematic,
Yeah, I can see that.
right?
Yeah.
In a really gross way that I don't like to think about.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Don Taylor that puts it something like, she's like, so are naked old women the new horror icon? She's like, is that the thing? She's like, should I just come out with stringy hair and sagging tits and terrify people? You know, and I think it was like Dee Snider, her friend. He was like, yes, you should do that.
Like there was some of that in the Norseman or the Northman when we watched that
That's right.
in more of the supernatural portion of that.
Yes.
I feel like that also came across in some of the horror movies that we watched at Horror Film Fest at the Portland Horror Film Fest.
That feels true. I could not give you an example right now, but it feels true.
Oh, the one with the hole in the basement of the house that was out in the middle of nowhere, Greenland. That movie.
That had an old woman? A naked old woman?
Yes, and a naked old man, and there were, because when they went down into that hole and found people down there, and the kid that was born out of an egg, the imagery from that movie sticks with me more than the movie itself. Like there was so many things where I was like, what did I just watch?
Right. Yeah.
Which sometimes that's what I want out of a horror movie, is I want to walk away going,
That's going to stick with me.
Just happened?
what did I just watch? I feel like there's some of that in Mandy.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not just naked old women, but naked old men. Just naked people.
It's a lot of naked dudes in Mandy.
Naked people are scary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more scared for naked people, especially like in an action moment. I'm like, oh, protect your bits.
I think it
Oh,
depends.
so you've ever seen Eastern Promises with Viggo Mortensen having the naked fight in the Russian bathhouse?
I haven't seen
I
this. either.
don't think I have, but I've seen naked fights, and I'm always concerned.
There is
Like,
flopping dong everywhere, but some great Foleys. The sound of like a wet fist hitting a wet belly as they're punching each other. It's just like,
That's
oh,
great.
yeah.
just meaty slaps.
Meaty slaps. Yeah, from the motherland or something. Well, we should wrap up on meaty slaps.
I want to know what cover band Meaty Slaps is.
All right, Norm, you got a couple seconds to throw that in
There
there.
you go.
Yeah.
And this is all true.
What are we going to do next month?
Oh God.
This month.
Oh God.
I don't know. You guys might hear my tedious. I started a workshop on writing your first D&D adventure, so you
Ooh.
might hear me talk about that. So
That's not tedious. You should talk about that.
yeah, I'm approaching. I'm having a new approach to gaming. I'm forgetting or remembering how much I enjoy collaborative storytelling through gaming, and I really miss doing more of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that some people have been asking when we're going to get back on the Avatar train.
Mm-hmm.
We should finish that off.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to get it done by the end of the year like we thought, but
No.
My coworker Madison Frawley will not stop bothering me about joining us for that. So
Maybe a paranormal investigation if I ever send my damn email to Cable.
send that email.
Yep.
I think definitely for the next couple months we should cover some passion projects of ours and like what your your RPG stuff sounds like. I'm still going to try and line up a few more interviews if we can.
Yeah, let's see if we can get Greg in here.
Not just Greg, but like
Sure.
other folks.
Yeah.
Which I'll tease more when I actually get confirmations rather than it's going to be this person. No, we didn't get that person.
excellent.
Great. Well, with that, I'm Aaron Duran.
Real quick,
Yes.
Meaty Motherland Slaps is the name of Norm's All Loot Toadies cover band.
There you go.
All right.
The Toadies.
You're still Aaron Duran.
Damn right.
And now I am Bean Rita.
And I am Cable Washington.
We will talk to everybody next week, live from the Guardian Games Studios.